Hey, we're back, and today we're going to continue the topic from last week and start talking a little bit more about how you should build your home and rebuild it if it was caught in this fires in the California fires. So, what can you do to build a home today so that this doesn't happen again? And how do you design that space to make sure that it doesn't happen? So, before we do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button, dingle on the bell, and of course, leave us a comment because we're always curious what you guys are thinking and trying to help answer your questions. So, with that, let's hit the share button. The scale of this thing is immense. And
Yeah,
if you missed the previous episode, we talked about building permits and things like that of what needs to be done. So if you missed that, go back, watch the first episode of this, and we'll kind of talk about a little bit more and get in depth with what needs
yeah.
to be
Last week I think was more cause and effect.
correct.
Not heeding the warnings, kind of playing the name game, the blame game, spreading the grief around.
Sure.
But also still, again, anybody that's lost their home, I feel for you. We go through that. I live in a hurricane zone and know people that go through the same thing, and all the firemen and everybody that risking their lives to save all this. So it's not easy, but
Correct.
no, today what we really want to talk about is, okay, you've lost your home. As far as I know, the mayor of Los Angeles, Bass, has said that we're going to streamline the permitting process. But now before you go in for your permit, there's things you need to look at.
Okay.
And that's what we want to talk about. Like, how do we build prepared, better prepared,
Correct.
so when this happens again, because this is not if it's going to happen again, when this happens again,
Correct.
because they change some rules and regulations, it's going to keep happening.
Yes.
How do I make my house safer? First item that we talk about is what we call defensible space.
Okay. And I think this is a perfect example of
Of a
no
lack of
of,
defensible
of,
space.
of no defensible space. So give us a definition of defensible space then.
Well, defensible space is a zone right around your home. Could be only 5 or 6 feet of nothing flammable or organic up against your home.
Right.
No bushes, no garbage cans, no wood fencing, no a defensible space.
Right. No, yeah, and that nothing that's going to easily catch fire and burn. You don't
Correct.
you don't want
When
any of that.
you have when you have a city like Los Angeles that says they have a low density housing plan, but you have 4 houses per acre, I'm sorry, that's high density.
Yes. Yeah.
And when you only have 10 feet between two homes and a house is on fire at 1800 degrees internal, it doesn't take much to get the house next door started.
Uh, I would venture that this is less than 15 feet. You know,
Yeah, you can't even tell in these pictures.
yeah, there's no way to know. But you can see there's a garage for one house, there's the garage for the next house, here's the garage for this house. So there is like these little alley things in here, but a couple of feet, maybe 3 feet wide to be able to walk through.
Yeah.
So, so what should we be doing to get this? I think you said you had like 8 items after
Well,
the
it's a mixture. So the first thing is make sure you have enough space around your house of non-flammable, non-organics, right?
right,
Next thing is start looking for building materials for the exterior house that all have a Class A rating, a
right,
Class A fire rating from the National Fire Protection Association, NFPA. And we're going to do a show after this one for Class A products.
okay,
We're not going to kind of mix this one. We'll run this list and talk about things you do in your house design to protect yourself. And then next week we'll do the Class A. And I mean, if you're in California and you're in for permit, you still got time to listen to these shows and still
sure,
get all you need.
right,
All right, so you're looking for products that have a Class A fire rating. And what that typically means is that they will last an hour longer, or maybe they're less likely to catch fire. And shingles to me is a really good example because a lot of the older homes there had wood shake shingles.
right,
And one of the things that was actually really interesting, and this again goes back to the 1962 film, when the wood shake shingles burn in a area like the picture you have up,
yeah,
the embers from those shingles, because it creates its own weather, it would lift those embers and they would float on fire through the clouds up to 1.5 miles away
Well, and
and,
that's why
and
these
start more
fires are
fires.
going on. Yeah.
And start more fires. So if you want something that doesn't actually burn, smolder, okay. Burn, bad.
Right.
Oh, very bad. So that's these kind of things they do. And it's really quite crazy when you think about it.
Right.
My house here in Florida, even though I don't deal with fire so much, but I have an unvented roof structure. Most homes in California have truss roofs. And I can honestly tell you, living in California or living here, those truss roofs, after a couple of years, I'm pretty sure they're dried out. And it wouldn't take much more than a mouse fart with a match to
Yep.
get a truss lit on fire,
Right.
right?
Yep.
And they use probably Northwest spruce pine fir. That's actually better. We use southern yellow pine. Ours comes from the factory flammable, like ready to burn. So soffit venting and perfect timing. So we talk about roof venting in a lot of our shows and how to properly vent your roof. And you use a convection current, which means as the heat rises through the ridge vent, you're going to pull air in from the soffit vents.
Right. It just goes up.
Seems like a perfectly good idea, unless you live in a fire area. Because as soon as you pull the embers up through those soffit vents and start your attic on fire, your house is gone.
Right.
So this house has no eaves, but it has a gable vent. It has decent soffits with vents. Go to an unvented roof structure, whether in California, because their weather is so consistent, your temperature differential is so small, you don't need probably much more than R19 in the attic. You don't need closed cell foam. You don't need open cell foam. You don't, do you know what I'm saying? Like Ron, like you're in Chicago, I'm in Florida. I deal with heat and humidity.
Right.
You do temperature swings of 120 degrees every year.
Right. Yeah. It is currently it's 7 degrees outside.
Yeah, I heard. And I thought it was bad when I woke up to 52 this morning. If you build a house, and we call it an unvented roof structure, if you rebuild your house and you close off those soffit vents, get rid of that ridge vent, close that off, insulate the bottom of your roof, or at the very least, keep it inside the building envelope,
Hmm.
your thermal envelope. If you insulate that roof, that means your ductwork, your air conditioner, anything that's in that attic is inside your building envelope, inside your thermal and pressure barrier.
Right.
You won't be sucking up ash through the soffit vents, starting your roof on fire. And that's probably what caused not been out there and looking around, right? I'll still throw a number out there. I'll bet it's 75% of the houses that burned just because it went up through the soffit vents.
Right. Or improper roofing materials.
Right. Exterior siding. A lot of people like to have T111, cedar, lap siding. No, hardy board. You got to
Yes.
switch over to cementitious products, right? Uh, James Hardy, CertainTeed, they all have fiber cement products that replicate everything you're accustomed to see. There is no reason to hang organic flammable material outside your house.
Yeah. And
Why
they,
you know why that chimney's still standing?
because it's masonry.
Bricks don't burn.
That's right. Yeah. So, and they,
Standing seam metal roofs.
yeah.
You hot ash blowing at your roof. Know what it does on a standing seam metal roof? It blows over.
Right. Just keeps right on moving.
Keep on moving. Got no ridge vent. Nothing to suck it in.
Right.
Nothing to push it out.
Yep.
No roof.
And you just don't want to give it the opportunity to light on fire. You just, by having a metal roof, it's done. You don't have to worry about it.
I mean, and I feel bad for whoever's family lost this house that you've got this picture of, but there's your front porch with their railing. Now it's a
Yep.
metal railing at least instead of wood, because if it was wood, it'd been gone. But what's right in front of it? The bushes.
Right.
When those bushes burned, do you think that when those things burned and the hot went up, it didn't start the porch ceiling on fire? Like, I don't know. I'm assuming this was I can see the chair to the right, or to the left rather, right? It looks like a porch swing kind of thing.
Yep. Right here. And you can
Yeah.
see the roof line was right here.
So I'm saying, like because the landscaping was there. So this brings me to our next point. Why don't we think about desert scaping? So desert scaping. So again, when we talk about going back to defensible space, desert scaping at least 6 to 8 feet around your house.
And that's,
Put
that's,
some bushes out there, great, but not next to the house.
well,
Don't get me wrong, we've always put the bushes up against the house, right? That's what we all do. So defensible space, yes, desertscaping. The windows for your house.
okay,
Again, we only have a small temperature differential. I don't know if you guys are even using thermal paint, let alone, you know what I mean? But if
right.
you have out there, because you have, like you in Chicago, Ron, do you ever use aluminum frame windows? I
No,
mean, not, you aluminum clad maybe,
yes, but not
but
aluminum.
not an aluminum frame window, right?
Nope.
Why?
Because there's no thermal break and that it's too cold in the winter. So you
Yeah, so that aluminum right now on the outside is 7 degrees. So on the inside of your house with any humidity, you have frost built up, right?
correct.
Okay. Aluminum melts at 1200 degrees.
Okay.
So you have your neighbor's house is on fire,
Uh-huh.
5 feet away.
Yep.
That thing is raging at 1800 degrees before it blows out the windows. And then now your house is getting warm. What's going to happen when the aluminum starts melting? Your
The
glass
glass.
falls out.
Yep.
Glass is fine, but it falls out. And
Yep.
now the neighbor's stuff goes in your house. This is what's going on there.
Yes.
This is why the neighbor's house will burn down. And it's just an ongoing thing. The houses are too close. You're not using proper products. So wood windows with aluminum clad, if you want them to look nice, that's fine. But a wood window, it may burn, but it's going to hold up a little longer.
Yeah, it's going to last longer.
Yeah. So, and tempered glass, because tempered glass is heat treated, so it will hold up better than just regular 1/8 inch glass.
Yep.
The insulation in your walls, just instead of fiberglass, go to rock wool. Rock wool is a natural fire retardant.
Yep. And
Fiberglass isn't all bad. Fiberglass will hold up to heat. The odd thing about fiberglass is most fiberglass insulation has a paper vapor barrier.
well, it melts too. The fiberglass will melt back into glass once it gets warm enough. Whereas rock wool doesn't melt back into rock. It
It
stays.
doesn't really.
It doesn't. And then the other thing that we've always built with is, spray foam, whether it's open cell, closed cell. We use a lot of that, but that's highly flammable. So you put that in the walls and you're going to have more of an issue there. So if the
Yeah.
flame
So
gets
again, it
through,
goes back to the point we made about because you're in California, your temperature differential, it's 20 degrees all year long,
yeah,
from 65 to 85.
right.
They don't go to 20 below zero to 105.
Yep.
They don't need those things. Just R13 rock wool in the wall would be more than adequate. And rock wool does a great job of air sealing as well because it fits snug.
Correct.
Okay. So that's another. And then the last item is plan your walls for 1 hour assemblies. Now, I grew up in the south side of Chicago and did some additions in Chicago, and I had a city of Chicago license as a contractor.
Mhm.
You still work in the city of Chicago. Can you build a house in Chicago without a 1 hour rated exterior wall?
No, no,
And
no.
we'll talk about 1 hour ratings next week when we talk about Class A Class A products for fire.
Yeah,
We're going to talk about a couple of different 1 hour wall assemblies. They don't cost that much more to do,
no. I mean,
but your house would be here. If you start building this way, then the insurance companies may start insuring you again because they're realizing that you're making the effort. It's unlikely that it'll be as bad as it was. Not everybody can afford to build a new house and do it different, but you guys, a lot of people in California now have the opportunity
yes,
to change the direction.
yes, and build with this kind of stuff in mind, so that way, the next time this rolls through, your house
So
will be
you
one of
fare
those,
better.
your house will be one of those that's still standing, like those newer homes that they've built that way. And it's pretty interesting to see a house standing unscathed and everything around it just gone. So stay tuned next week for Class A rated material.
Class A building materials and a couple of words about 1 hour wall structures or
1 hour.
assemblies.
All right. So with that, I'll say make sure you hit that subscribe button, dingle on the bell. Of course, leave us a note and keep it square and level.
Till next week.
Till next time. There you go.